How you doing, YouTube? Matt Master Beer Reviews back with a little bit of untitled art up in this piece in the form of their barrel-aged sweet barley wine. This comes courtesy of my boy Mike from Jersey. He put together a box of beers via Tavour, actually, and had it shipped direct to me, which is pretty cool. At first I was like, that's kind of weird, but then I was like, that's kind of cool. And I've got a really cool kind of canvas of beers from these people, or what Mike picked out, I should say. There is a kind of theme in there, and that theme is Untitled art. He actually threw a bunch of their beers in there. I believe there's 3 of these bottles. There's this sweet barley wine, there's an Imperial Barrel Aged Stout, and then there's a 20% ice-boxed barley wine. I mean, anyway, and I believe there was 1 or 2 cans from them. So this is going to be the first one I actually open from these guys that is from them. I've had some collabs, nothing straight from Untitled art. So we're talking about a barrel-aged barley wine ale with milk sugar. So a lactose barley wine. Done. That's it. It's sub 10%, so 9.5, which is even unique in and of itself. I'm really curious. I could see myself loving this beer. I could see myself fucking hating this beer. I definitely will drink this beer. So we'll see what's what. I'm going to tell you right now, straight out of the chute, it looks like a barley wine. It looks like what I want my barley wine to look like, which is that murky dew-to-water brown. A little bit clearer, maybe, if I'm really going to be nitpicky about it, than I would like my barley wine to look. But typically when I want my barley wines to be like super dew-to brown, it's because they are super aged. This is not aged as far as I know. Burps. I do not see a date on the label. I assume is relatively fresh because it does come from Tavour. Label-wise, I'm not gonna lie to you, I like it. It's abstract art. There's no reason or rhyme or whatever to it, but I like it. There you go. But yeah, looks the part of a barley wine. The nose is gonna be super interesting. A milk sugar barley wine. Now, I was kind of wondering where this beer was gonna go. And there's a couple different directions that could go. Are they going to try to do like milkshake barley wine? Are they going to try to do like whatever, this, that, and the other thing? The one thing I kind of hope they might have tried for, which is a subtle dose of lactose to impart vanilla in a barley wine, English barley wine, which this definitely is, to mimic barrel aging. To trick your brain into thinking maybe this has some time on it, because you're talking about a barrel-aged barley wine, you automatically default to a little bit of time, and that's kind of where the nose comes off. It doesn't have like the sugar daddy raisin anything that age brings. There's a rich caramel characteristic to it. Dates and figs are in there. And there's this vanilla. I mean, and it's subtle. It's not heavy-handed. That makes me think this hit a little bit of wood. You know, in the grand scheme of things, I'd be like, I don't think there's a spirit in here. And when I say grand scheme of things, I mean like blind. If this was a blind beer, I'd be like, I would toss and turn between. I don't think it's barrel aged, but I think it might be barrel aged. I'm getting vanilla, and that makes me think like it hit wood and blah, blah, blah. So that's a cool trick they're pulling off here. I actually really enjoy the way that comes off. And it's kind of in the way that I hope this beer would trend. Now, you could also say, well, trying unique stuff that you didn't expect or didn't hope for is probably the best part about beer. But sometimes when you want what you want, you get it. That's not a bad thing either. Let's just dive in. Cheers. I like it. I do. I really do. The percentages are just microns off of me going gaga. And it may sound like I'm like close to liking it, but I think to get this exactly 100% perfect the way I like it, it's razor thin. And it just barely misses because the lactose comes off a little bit, just a skosh. And I mean a skosh. Too heavy-handed to where it just leans more sweet than I'd like it to be. Now, let's reverse, talk about the beer. Nice mouthfeel, really nice, almost beautiful. It's what you want from barley wine. Barley wine, malt side of things, pretty excellent. Talking about what I assume is a relatively fresh barley wine, sub 10%. Keep that in mind. Comes off rich, comes off caramel, comes off date, figgy, even a touch of molasses. So you're talking about sub 10%, and it's giving me those characteristics. Kudos to those guys. The mouthfeel, I want to go back to a little real quick. There's a softness to it that you typically get from the wood. Again, milk sugar playing a role there, so I really like that. But when you get to that kind of turnkey moment for me, which is feeling you're getting notes of vanilla from wood, you can tell you're getting lactose from this. At least I can. If it was blind, would I know that? I don't know. That's the beautiful thing about blind beers, but it gives me this soft sweetness, a soft mouthfeel, delicious caramel vibes, little dates and figgies, and then that vanilla that eventually erupts into a soft, again, it's not heavy-handed, it's soft lactose dose addition. And I think it's really fun beer. I could see this being better, though. It's so pretentious for me to sit here and judge and second-guess a brewery and be like, you can make your beer better. I don't even make beer. I just sit and talk in the YouTubes about it. But if there was just a little bit more of a darker malt or a little bit more of a bittering in here, even just a soft, fugly hop bittering, go uber traditional English Kent Golding kind of hop. Not that I want it to be bitter, but it would damper that lactose to the point where I think it's more, again, vanilla derived from the barrel kind of lactose as opposed to a milk sugar addition, and kind of temper that in some way. Not necessarily make the beer more bittering. That's what it is. But you know what I'm trying to say, is basically add this characteristic that levels it out a little bit, tempers that milk sugar, brings it more to a vanilla level, while still adding that soft, creamy mouthfeel that, again, it's not an oak tannin, but I can be talked into it. You know, it gives that softness that you would get from an oak tannin, even though it has that dryness. You can imagine that. I think it's really fun. I like it. Listen, if you told me straight to my face, here's a milkshake barley wine. I know they're not calling it a milkshake barley wine. They're calling it a sweet barley wine with lactose. I'd be like, a little skeptical. Sit here and be like, I love barley wine, but I'll drink it, but I don't know. And if I'm gonna put my odds up on the board, let's say, what are the odds I'm gonna like this? Plus 250, minus 180. I mean, this is probably gonna end up as an underdog, not as a front runner of whether I like it or not. But it's won me over, so it's technically was an underdog that ended up winning. And I think that's a pretty thing. Everybody loves an underdog. So yeah, let's talk about the beer real quick and we'll wrap it up. Yeah, as all the bits and pieces you would love about an English barley wine, from that date figgy caramel thing, that mouthfeel, which is helped out by that lactose. Even the vanilla you get from lactose just gets a little bit too sweet for me to go gaga. Is it one of the better adjunct barley wines? Because that happens a lot. Is it one of the better barley wines I've had as of late? Yes. Is it Mount Rushmore? No. But I dig the cut. I dig it. At first, I didn't think I'd dig it. I was kind of not on its side. I had a little bit of skepticism going in, but now I think it's really fun. And I can't wait for the other two that I'm going to try. Listen, these people made an ice-boxed barley wine. I like them already. Value and availability. This I'm very curious about. You're going to hear this like a broken record with these Tavour beers that Mike sent me. What did you pay, Mike? What did you pay for this bottle? Everybody else out there, Wisconsin peeps, let me know. What did you pay for this if you bought this out in your area? I want to know price differences. Are you telling me this is an additional $1? I think that's pretty cool, especially if you're building a box. It's, you build a box big enough, it's free shipping. An extra $1 to get something exotic that we don't get out here, that's fine. You tell me there's an extra $5, then I start to get a little bit, I don't know, angry. And leave you with, if you like what we like this. If you like barley wine, you like barrel-aged barley wine, but you don't like spirits and oak tannins bother you. I mean, that's kind of a stretch to find somebody who's that specific when it comes to barley wine. But if you like people trying to do interesting things with classic styles, I think this is a really fun mix. I think there's something, again, this beer is not a failure. I think it's delicious. I'm enjoying it, but I think there's something extra cool to be found from this kind of combination. You don't see a lot of lactose barley wine. And again, it might be blasphemy for a bunch of you purists out there to think about lactose and barley wine together. I think there can be something said for this combination in something else to bring it home. I like it. I think it's fun. If you like experimentation, you'll like this. So there you go. Our review in the books. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Down there if you want to talk about it. Massive Beers if you want to check me out there in the social media stuff. Beer Massif. If you want to check me out doing the whole podcasting thing, and hopefully you guys enjoyed the review. Hopefully enjoying a little bit of lactose barley wine right now. We'll see you next time. Cheers.